Council regular meeting is called to order at 6:40. Present at the meeting are Council members President John Wilson, Kevin Charbonneau, who is appearing remotely, Chris Vachon, Bob Curtis, staff members at the table. We have City Clerk and Treasurer James Johnson. Remotely, we have Programs Director Rebecca Thurian. And we have Interim City Manager here, Karen Garrity. I'd like to take one moment, please, just to recognize those who've passed on 9/11, so if we could just take a moment. Thank you. Members of the audience are reminded that members of the press are present and that these proceedings are being recorded for current and future broadcast over the city's cable television channel. Members of the audience are further reminded that Newport City Council meetings are for the purpose of allowing council members to conduct city business. City council meetings are the only time the city council discusses, deliberates, and decides upon city matters. City council meetings are held in public to promote transparency and accountability in government, but are distinct from public hearings or town meetings in that they are not meetings of the public. Members of the public shall be afforded a reasonable opportunity to express opinions about matters considered by the city council. To conduct orderly and efficient meetings, I kindly request the public's cooperation and compliance with the published guidelines when participating in the meeting. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is number 2. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Have to add in, we've got to approve the tax rate tonight. Can't wait any longer. I've got copies for everybody too.
I have a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the tax rate to move it onto the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? Second, okay. I also have 2 changes to propose. Move number 14, old business, and move number 15, new business, to after number 11 before executive session, simply to allow people to leave if they do not want to stay through executive session. Any other changes from the council?
14, 15 after 11?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's
Do you mind
quite all
if I
right.
close the windows actually just this side so I can hear?
Okay. So 14 and 15 will go after 11, but now we also have approved the tax rate. Do I hear a motion to approve the changes to the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to approve the changes, and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. The motion is carried. Are there comments from the public?
Thank you.
Comments in terms of, is this the general comment period? No, okay. Thank you.
Are there any further comments from the council on moving the agenda items? Okay. Now we will go into comments by members of the public, and these are comments for items not on the agenda. So this is item number 3, which are comments from the public. When your name is called, please state your name, residence, and/or your affiliation, and you will have 2 minutes to comment. Do I have somebody who will time that 2 minutes? First, Ms. McIntyre.
I'm not part of a group. I speak for myself. No one else speaks for me. I've been told, but unable to verify, that discussion between members outside of meetings is significantly restricted. There is indication that it may be difficult at times to get information from some city officials. Meeting rules seem to restrict when discussion may take place. I can only ask that all of you work within the rules and processes to make the best use of them to secure and discuss information. At the 9/6/23 meeting, I saw the following as efforts to encourage discussion and thought. 1, Mayor Sullivan's request for agenda additions to simply consider issues. 2, the split votes, differences of opinion on the above issues, and tabling them. Number 3, Member Vachon's recusal of himself from the rest of the meeting. And number 4, Mayor Sullivan's flexibility on public comment time allotment. When you can tell us why you voted as you did, in session or in the press, please do. You have information the public doesn't. We can learn from you. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your comment. The next person is Jennifer Bierling.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bureland, resident of Newport. I wasn't actually going to make any public comments tonight, but I arrived and I'm tired and carrying a heavy load, and so I went to the downstairs door to come in and it was locked. And that's an ADA violation and probably a public accommodation violation, and Attorney Rue, who practices municipal law, would be better versed than I to list all the different violations that it would be. But that door needs to be available to handicapped people. At all times the building is open in order for them to access it. So I don't know if there's a system of which I'm not aware, like a button to push to hit to get to dispatch, but if that's the case, there needs to be like some sign on there instructing people how to do it, because right now it's just a locked door and they have no access to the building. Then the other comment that I would like to make is more a question. So we just had a motion and a second to add additional items to the agenda, and then it seemed that public comment happened after the vote. Is that what just took place? You guys voted and then the public was given opportunity to comment? Is that what happened? Can you answer my question, please, so I can move forward?
So what happened was the motion was made, but we opened the public comment. That's what happened. And then we made the vote. And then we opened it up to general public comment.
So my concern is that if members of the public have information that might factor into the council's vote on an issue, the council needs to hear that before the vote, not after the vote. Once the vote's done, it's done. And if there's critical information coming from members of the general public of which the council's not aware, that would influence a vote, that needs to be heard. So I would just ask that the historical practice of motion, second, council discussion, then public discussion, then vote be honored, because it's what's logical and makes sense. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. The next person who would like to speak is Jennifer Hopkins. And I can't see if it's Hopkins or Hopkins.
Hopkins. Anyway, I'm a resident of the city of Newport, and just for clarification, I served on the committee that established the current water and sewer rates. And I just have noticed that over the years, I think people will recognize there has been questioning of the appropriateness of the expenditures or budgetary items that have been moved into the water and sewer budgets. So my question would be, or my comment would be, as opposed to perhaps proceeding with a forensic audit, which has been suggested and is potentially needed, maybe the thing to do is just to start now and look at our practices for prior years, find justification for the amounts of whatever time of public works workers go into the water and sewer budget, and from there implement suggestions and straighten out and the problem we have with people's concept of the water and sewer budgets. So that is just a suggestion that we could save some money, we could, effectively move forward on a positive note. So that's all.
Thank you for your comment. The next item on the agenda is number 4. We will move into executive session to receive advice from legal counsel concerning the notice of open meeting law violation received on September 6, 2023. I move that the premature general public knowledge of the confidential attorney-client communications made for providing legal services to the city council would place the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential advice and communication could harm the city. Do I have a second?
Somebody else is going to make the motion.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. May I have a motion? And I will read it again. To find the premature general public knowledge of the confidential attorney-client communications made for providing legal services to the city council would place the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential advice and communication could harm the city. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. I move to enter executive session to discuss confidential attorney-client communications. I need a motion to enter executive session to discuss confidential attorney-client communications for the purposes of rendering professional legal services to the City Council pursuant to 1 VSA Section 313A1F, and to invite the City Attorney David Rue and Interim City Manager Karen Garrity into the executive session. And Attorney Bariah Smith.
Point of order, I don't, you have to vote on the first motion that you have going on. You have to make that baseline finding by vote before you can move on to the second motion. You have a motion on the floor right now to make a finding that it's at a substantial disadvantage to the city.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do I have all those in favor of the first motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Do I have a motion for the second motion that I just explained?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion's carried. We are now in executive session.
Madam Mayor, at some point, are you going to identify the person or persons who made the allegations?
No. We're out of executive session, as I said, and no action was taken. I'm going to call for a motion as a result of the executive session. I call for a motion that the council deny the alleged Vermont open meeting law violation as stated in the letter signed by Jennifer Bierling and dated September 6, 2023, and find that the September 6, 2023 special council meeting was adequately warned. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I will now open that for any comment.
Madam Mayor? Can I have a copy of the notice of violation that wasn't in the packet?
Right now, may I have all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The motion is carried. The next item is to approve the minutes, is number 6, approval of the minutes of August 7, August 15, and September 6, 2023. Council members, you have a copy in your packet.
Each one separately.
One of each one.
I think so.
Mhm. So we will start with August 7th. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of August 7?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Oh, that's good.
Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion to approve the minutes of August 7th is carried. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of August 15, 2023?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
I know.
Any comments from the public? I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2023 is carried. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 6th, 2023?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion to approve the minutes of September 6, 2023 is carried. The next item on the agenda is number 7. We'll be considering extending the deadline for submission of applications for the position of city manager until filled. Do I hear a motion to approve extending the deadline for the submission of applications for the position of city manager until the position is filled? No motion? Council members? Okay. And we'll move on.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
so what does that mean? What's your position now? What's the city's position that you didn't get a motion?
We did not get a motion.
So did you have, how many people have applied for position?
So right now, we're not going to do questions on this because we are going to be making a motion to go into different sessions. And those are an area where we're not going to go discuss the public with the public yet.
So
So-
what point will you discuss, will you tell the public how many people have applied for the positions?
As soon as we know.
Okay?
The next item on the agenda is number 8, discussion regarding retirement of employee executive session. I move to find that premature general public,
You can't make the motion.
I'm sorry, forgive me. May I have a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of the evaluation of a public officer or employee would place the employee or the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential information might be disadvantageous to the employee and/or the city?
I'll make the motion.
Point of order,
Do
we're
I-
not dealing with an evaluation, we're dealing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a first and a second to find that premature general public knowledge of the evaluation of a public officer or employee would place the employee or the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential information might be disadvantage to the employee and/or the city. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor, it says retirement on the agenda, you said evaluation?
Should say retirement.
It should say retirement.
Or you said evaluation?
Regarding retirement of employee.
But your motion to go to
That's-
executive session is for evaluation.
I will actually clarify that.
Okay.
So can we please amend that motion so that it is defined that premature general public knowledge of the retirement of a public officer or employee would place the employee or the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential information might be disadvantage to the employee and/or the city. Do I have that amended motion?
It's already been in the paper.
Do I have that amended motion?
It's gotta be, there's a motion made and seconded.
Yes.
Somebody's gotta withdraw the
Withdraw the
second and
motion.
withdraw the motion. Then you can do it.
Can I have the
So
first
I
motion?
withdraw my second. And my first.
And now we're moving on to move that, find, we already done it.
Do the motion
Withdraw the
again.
motion.
Say it one more time, sir.
He would do a second, whoever
Right.
made the motion.
I withdrew.
That's
my
right,
first.
he
I
did.
apologize.
Yes, they were both withdrawn. Okay? And now we've moved on for the motion to find the premature general public knowledge of the retirement of a public officer or employee would place the employee or the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential information might be disadvantageous to the employee and/or the city. Do I have that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Do I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss the retirement of a public officer or employee pursuant to 1 VSA Section 313A3 and to invite the interim city manager Karen Garrity into the executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. We are now in executive session.
Is someone or Mariah?
Mariah is
on?
here, yes.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to accept the notice of retirement of Fire Chief John Harlemer?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and I have a second to accept the notice of retirement of Fire Chief John Harlemer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is number 9. Interviewing and discussion regarding the interim employee in executive session. May I have a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of the evaluation of a public officer or employee would place the employee or the city at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential information might be disadvantageous to the employee and/or the city?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Do I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss the evaluation of a public officer or employee pursuant to 1 VSA Section 313A3 and to invite the interim city manager Karen Garrity and Assistant Fire Chief Kevin Lacoste into the executive session?
I know what on your, it's not an evaluation. We're not evaluating. It's just an interview.
An interview, right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We are now in executive session. When we get to new business. Okay, do I hear a motion to appoint Kevin Lacoste as interim fire chief?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to appoint Kevin Lacoste as interim fire chief, and I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. And the motion is carried.
Madam Mayor, so what is the process of finding a permanent fire chief?
We'll go through the actual interview process.
I'm sorry?
There'll be an interview process.
Where are you gonna post it? Are you gonna do a nationwide search, or what are you?
Well, we don't know if we're going to do nationwide. We will definitely discuss it, and we will definitely, there'll be postings and so on. So we'll talk to recruiters.
Madam Mayor, according to statute, you're required to explain the reasons for your final decision.
So the next item
Madam Mayor, you're required by statute.
is number 10. Request for authorization to purchase public works equipment, dump truck cab, and chassis. I recognize Karen Garrity, the interim city manager.
Thank you. So I am, our Public Works Director is on vacation at the moment. So this is coming up because as we know, excuse me, I didn't have this frog in my throat 2 minutes ago. Thank you. As we know, things in the pipeline take much longer, so the sooner we can look at this and make a decision, the sooner he can get these things ordered. This is equipment that is in his budget, that was approved in his capital plan this past year. So it's just to provide you with the costs of what it will be. And we separated out into 2 separate votes. The first is for a dump truck cab and chassis. And he has 2 quotes. The current budget that allows them to replace what they have as a 2013 Freightliner, an M2 6-wheel dump truck. So he's gone out to bid. He's received 2 bids back, and the breakdown is the Charlevoix Freightliner M2 is $115,715. The Elysian's trucks 2025 International HV 507s are approximately the same. There's very little difference. There's about less than $100 difference in them. Both bids meet the city specifications. Mr. Bernier is requesting authorization to purchase the 2025 Freightliner cab and chassis from Charlevoix for $115,715. So that's his recommendation for the dump truck and chassis. Do you want me to do the second one and then you do separate votes, or you do the vote? Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve authorizing the purchase of the Public Works equipment, dump truck and chassis?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we purchase the Charlevoix 2025 Freightliner cab and chassis for $115,715.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Can we have
Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me.
Aye.
Council member motion, I'm sorry. Public comment?
I have a comment generally on the purchases of equipment and whether or not they should be analyzed more seriously. Last year, and not to say that you're not being serious, last year Public Works said they were going to spend a certain amount of money and asked to spend that, and it was authorized, and they spent $85,000 more last year according to the general ledger. In sewerage, which Tom also supervises, $100,000 more was spent than was authorized, and in water, $165,000. So there was about $250,000 more spent. And what I really would like is there to be some assurances that there will be some safeguards to ensure that that isn't going to happen again. I'd like to know which budget is paying for these items. These items were thought that they were needed a year ago, that they would be needed now. It would be nice to know that they are needed now and not that they couldn't be postponed for a year. And also, how much was the estimate that went into the budget for these items, and how close does the estimate for these items that caused them to be put into the budget then, how close is that to how much is going to be spent now? And I think that kind of analysis should be made with respect to all of the big items, so that we don't wind up with citizens having to pay a lot more than was expected by the budget.
Madam Mayor, you can address?
Please do.
So I just want to address your initial comment about the overspending, and I would have to look at the particulars, but I do want to decouple that from the equipment purchase, because oftentimes in a budget we have issues that come up, emergencies and so forth, that we can't anticipate, and that may drive some of the spending up. So I'd have to look in specifically to see what's happened in that year. That's not necessarily overspending on equipment. There is a capital investment plan where this equipment, and you'll note here that this is a 10-year-old truck that's being replaced. So, and these trucks get very heavy use, I think, as anyone who's watching the Public Works in the city can attest. So I just wanted to decouple that perspective that you raised. It's a fair question, but to decouple that from this sort of planned obsolescence of equipment that's planned for in our capital investment plan. But you do raise a good question about what we look at in terms of overspending, and we can certainly get information on why there were higher expenditures than anticipated. Again, quite often that comes down to emergency expenses for things we can't foresee. But I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case, but it's often the case. So just not to measure this expenditure compared to an over expense.
And is water or sewer paying for part of this truck or not?
That I can look into. Usually in terms of use, there are certainly parts that are and I don't know in this truck and specifically, but there are certainly in terms of use where the trucks are used, there's an assignment of a percentage from that budget that's used for the equipment that's needed there. So this truck would not be assigned 100%, say to water and sewer, so it wouldn't be paid 100% by water sewer, but it may be used 8%. So, but I can get the answer on that for sure.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, she's gonna do that, could she also release that information to the press?
When you say release to the press, you mean call the press directly or just in general public?
Or if she's gonna reach out to Ms. Chiarello by email or whatever, while she's doing that, I mean, could you ask her to also email the results to the press?
Well, after we discuss it and we look at the budget and the items and we're sure it's accurate, yes.
We'll make sure it's
Publicly available.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, my only question was, where's the old vehicle going?
And that,
Is the $1,000,000.
zing, I don't have an answer for that, I'm sorry. I'll find out for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody okay? Okay, I now have a motion to approve authorizing the purchase of the public works equipment, dump truck and chassis, and I have the second. Are there any further comments from the council?
No, I'll throw one thing out. When we see this little price of 115, previous years, it was about 85,000 to buy a truck. Just like you go buy a new car now, you're gonna have sticker shock, just like, and that, down the road, that's the truck and chassis. Down the road, he'll have to go out to bid, put the plows and all that hydraulic stuff on. And that was going about 25,000, who knows what it's gonna cost now. But we need a plow to plow the roads. But that's some of the sticker shock we're getting right now.
Okay. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I apologize.
Aye.
Can you mute the interference, because there's a conversation going on that we probably shouldn't be hearing.
Hey Kevin, do you mind muting yourself for now?
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You wouldn't want us to hear.
Now, all those in favor say aye.
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 I
You
just
won't be
muted
able to
him.
hear.
All those opposed say nay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to have a copy of all the proposals for the vehicle. Are they on the website, or where can I get a copy of that?
They're in
They're
the
in the
agenda
agenda.
packet. They're online with the attachments.
Okay.
And the ayes appear to have it, and the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a request for authorization to purchase public works equipment, sidewalk tractors. But before I recognize Ms. Garrity, I just want to know, is our fellow councilman now not part of this?
I can fix that.
Can we just
hopefully.
make sure that he's part of this? Thank you.
Kevin, if you're still able to hear me, can you unmute yourself? I'm gonna have to recall him. Can you hear us now?
Hello? Yes?
Hi, we usually because some background noise, but are you back on now?
Yes.
I recognize Ms. Garrity, the interim city manager.
Okay, so this one, there's a little variation on it. This again is a budgeted purchase for 2 new 2023 sidewalk tractors and the attachments if needed. And this will be to replace the 2015 John Deere tractors with trade. So they received 2 bids. The Champlain Valley Equipment Kubota LX 4020 HSDC for $82,357.39. The Limited AG and Turf John Deere 3039R for $87,708.64. Then the cost of the attachments, the sweeper is $3,736.57. The loader is $4,994.02, and the snow blowers are $9,785.40 for a total of $18,515.99 for the attachments. So the city put a bid request for 2 tractors and attachments. Both bidders placed their bids utilizing Sourcewell. So Sourcewell is a government agency that makes purchasing easier and more affordable. The problem with Sourcewell in this instance is that they bundle the entire package together, and so they can't break out individual items. So Tom put the attachments in the bid so that Champlain could bid a Kubota tractor with attachments. So that's why that's there. The Champlain Equipment's bid has the option of trading the 2 tractors. They have separate prices for each trade in tractor, with the second one having it include both tractor attachments. He's made a list of the current attachments at a cost of, as I mentioned, $18,515 when purchased. If they go with John Deere, they do not need attachments except as a plow soon. Sorry. And that's one of the big pieces. The attachments they don't need if they go with John Deere. So the one snowplow that they would prefer to buy separately so that they could investigate further and possibly try one before they purchase it. He would like to request that we accept the bid from United AG and Turf for $87,708.64. So that's a John Deere 3039R, and that allows them to use the attachments they currently have.
Except for the plow.
Except for the plow, exactly. So that's what he's recommending. And it's budgeted in the capital investment plan as well for that replacement. And again, it's replacing a 2015 very heavy use tractors with trade.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve authorizing the purchase of public works equipment, sidewalk tractors, and attachments?
So just for clarification, because it's getting late, do we need the attachments if we go with the John Deere?
You do not.
Okay. So it would just be a
Just be
motion on
sidewalk
that.
tractors.
Okay. Then I'll make that motion.
Are there comments from the public? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Are there comments from the public? I have a motion to approve authorizing the purchase of the public works equipment, sidewalk tractors. I have a second. Any further comments from the council members? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is old business. Any old business, President Wilson? Mr. Charbonneau, any old business?
No, thank you.
Chris Vachon?
I'm assuming Jim's gonna bring up the tax rate?
Right.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Curtis? Okay.
So I got some more business. We need to set a tax rate tonight because time's running short and I can't wait for another meeting on October. So, the municipal rate will be $1.3503. The appropriation will be .0528. The voting exempt, this is residential, be .0189. Education is 1.6672. So the total residential rate will be 308.92. Everything is the same on non-resident except the education rate is 168.08. And the total non-residential rate will be 310.28. So the residential rate is going up about 15 cents. The non-residential rate is going up about 12. So we need to get this approved tonight because we're going to have to send out tax bills by last week of September.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Do I hear a motion to accept the new tax rate?
We've got to do it. I'll make the motion that we accept the 23-24 tax rates.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comment from the public?
I just have a question for Mr. Johnson. So Mr. Johnson, the total residential rate for the municipality was 3.0892, is that correct?
Correct.
And then what was the education rate for the residential?
1.6672.
1.6672.
And you want this, then?
I would love that, Mr. Johnson.
Me too.
Saying,
Well, I've got three.
Do you want me to make some, I can make some copies.
She can make some copies. You mind, Sharon? Yeah. How many people want copies?
Well, I can give mine too, so Karen doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Karen?
Karen?
Karen.
We have
I can give mine too,
extras
'cause I have
that
my
we can
copy.
pass
Me
around.
The municipal portion
Thank you, Chris.
of that is going up like 3.5 cents. The education is going up 12 cents.
Yeah, it's all education. It's all education.
For the kids.
Can I ask a question? I don't understand. Are you saying that the non-resident rate is going up less than the resident rate? I thought you had an advantage if you were a resident, that your taxes would be lower than if you were a
Let me
non-resident.
see that, John. I gave mine away.
It's just my dumb question from a dumb
Yeah, well,
understanding.
and unfortunately,
It's
it's
not a good
been that way as long as I can remember, and this year it's not. Because
And
the education
why is
tax
that?
rate is higher than the non-resident. the
And is it
residential.
being driven by you, being driven by
No,
the state?
No, the state tells us what the tax rate's gonna be for the education. We have no control over that. They send me a tax rate per 100 every year, and that's what it is.
You're saying it would have
It
been
all
better.
depends on the budget that the school submits, and they got this big 10-page formula they use, and
So you're saying it would be better to not have filed on the taxes that you were a resident?
well, you still get a little advantage for being a
Oh.
resident.
Okay.
Not the 10 cents it's normally been, this year's gonna be about 2 cents. It may go the other way next year.
Okay, thanks.
Madam Mayor, that's per what, $100? Excuse me, $100 of assessed value?
Yeah. Yes.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And the motion is carried. The next item on the,
I got one. Thank you.
the next item on the agenda is new business. Yeah, this is the new business. We did old business and new business, just combining it all. So if there's any further discussion Say it one more time.
Wait, this is Kevin's background noise again.
It's Kevin in the background, not Kevin speaking to us. Councilman? Thank you.
I have something on new business.
Yes, go right ahead.
This is for the city manager. Did we get that sidewalk fixed today that I called Becky on? I went to the garage on the corner of Union where you go into Maple. I watched a gentleman with a walker trying to come down the sidewalk, which was really good, till he got to where the corner was and the weeds were growing over and blown over, covering the entire sidewalk. So the poor guy went out into the road and then got back in around. So violating everything, I went to the garage and I talked with one of the men who was going to talk to the foreman, said, look, get a weed eater over there and cut the crap down. Because, I mean, the last thing we need is to have somebody on a walker get hit by traffic because we hadn't knocked down the weeds.
So I don't know, we were on 2 different tracks today in terms of what we were doing, but I can check with her in the morning to be
Okay,
sure.
because that's good. If we haven't got it done,
Yeah.
please get it down. That's all I had.
Any further new business? The next item on the agenda is interview and discussion regarding potential candidates for city manager position. May I have a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of the employee places the city and/or the candidates at a substantial disadvantage because disclosure of the otherwise confidential advice and communication could harm the city and/or the employee.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments?
Are you making a decision on this tonight? Do you anticipate a decision?
We anticipate, but that's as far as we know.
You do anticipate?
Anticipate. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion's carried. Do I have a motion to, I'm sorry?
No.
Oh. Do I have a motion to enter executive session to the interview and discussion of the potential candidates for the city and manager position pursuant to 1 VSA section 313A3 and to invite the individual candidates into the executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We are now in executive session.
During COVID, I was calling in all of them. Name the cat.
Hole in the spring water.
No,
We don't know what.
we don't know what's hidden in there.
No, we don't know what's.
Really calculated.
Okay. May I have a motion to make an offer to appoint a city manager?
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion that we make the next city manager Karen Garrity.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Go back to number 12.
Okay, now we're going to go back.
Can I make a comment? on that?
Yes, of course.
I'm glad the council came to a decision tonight because we're on week number 10 of 2 people doing the same job and neither of them have been authorized to do anything. And we're into the city manager's search over $10,000 already. It's cost the city.
Wow.
And it's adding $700 a week for that cost of that. So I'm glad something happened tonight.
Okay.
The cost of building and building.
So now I want to roll back to the third part of the policy, that we were going to consider the Public Works contract. I apologize because that was, we thought that was, yes.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor, when Mr. Johnson says two people are doing the job, I would like to know who those people were and where the money came from to be searching for a city manager. What fund that came out, what money that came out of?
So when I believe, and I'm going to let you clarify if I misspeak, that we already have a programs director in place and we had the interim city manager. So there was a move up of the programs director to take on some additional duties during the interim phase, during the transition of the ex-mayor coming in with a new mayor and everything that was going on. So it was during the transition that there were some job responsibilities redefined prior to my coming in.
Okay.
Okay.
And is that gonna remain the same now? Or is the program director gonna go back to her position? What is that gonna look like?
Yeah, so it will be redefined and the program director will not continue doing specific duties that she has been assigned. I mean, I have to look with the council at what was actually defined and what she was doing. I know she had taken on additional responsibilities during the interim, so that job will go back to what it was.
And what are the terms for Ms. Garrity's permanent position?
We do not have those terms. We need to meet with the candidate and actually sit down and negotiate.
And what if you don't come to term?
And then we'll be back here.
And where did the money for the search? I think Mr. Johnson said, did he say 10,000? How much did he say?
Well, between the search and difference in pay for the extra duties.
Yeah, it wasn't just the search.
10,000.
And I'm sorry, 10,000?
A little more than that.
Yeah, gotcha. So where did that money come from?
Well, most of it's payroll.
From the payroll.
Payroll, yeah.
Okay. So now I'd like to go back to our former number 12 on the agenda, which was considering ratifying the Public Works contract, and we had anticipated going into executive session, and those particular documents did not get here in time for the council to review them, and so I apologize that I thought it was off the agenda, but it's my mistake. So
I move to table that until Monday night's meeting.
we have a motion to table.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Motion is carried. The next meeting, regularly scheduled council meeting, will be September 18, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. I would now like to make a motion to adjourn, and I just need something.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I apologize, I just can't see the time.
10:26.
So, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Don't.
The motion carries.